Hello and welcome. It's a great pleasure to have you here with us. If you love intriguing and captivating stories, then you're in the right place. Subscribe to the channel right now and become a member of our community, so we can stay even more connected and share the best and most exciting narratives. Don't waste any time. Come and be a part of this journey. Now, without further ado, let's get into the story. It was a hot, lazy summer afternoon, and Jaqueline was completely alone at home, enjoying the rare tranquility and comforting silence that surrounded her. Outside, the sun shone brightly, casting its golden rays through the living room windows, filling the space with a soft and welcoming light. She was preparing to lose herself in a good book, with a freshly brewed, steaming cup of tea by her side, when she was unexpectedly interrupted by the sound of the doorbell. Jaqueline got up from the sofa, slightly surprised, and walked to the door with hesitant steps. When she opened it, she was surprised to find Roberto, her son-in-law, standing on the other side, holding a large, bulky package in his hands. He seemed a bit nervous, his eyes darting around quickly while a shy smile appeared on his lips. "Roberto, what are you doing here?" Jaqueline asked, her voice filled with surprise and curiosity. "Hi, Jaqueline," he replied with a slightly hesitant tone. "I brought this for you. Can I come in?" Jaqueline hesitated for a brief moment, pondering the situation, but then gestured for him to come in. Roberto stepped through the door, carefully placing the package on the living room floor, and then looked at her with an expression that suggested he was carefully choosing his next words. "What is it?" she asked, her curiosity growing by the second. "It's something special. Something I really wanted to show you. But Jaqueline, before you open it, I need to tell you something," Roberto said with a serious, almost solemn tone. Jaqueline frowned, sensing a slight tension in the air that hadn't been there before. She sat down on the sofa, motioning for him to do the same. However, Roberto remained standing, visibly nervous, as if he was about to reveal something important. "Jaqueline, I know this might seem strange, but I can't hide it anymore. I love you." The words came out of Roberto's mouth with raw intensity, loaded with an emotion he could barely contain. Jaqueline's heart raced, pounding hard in her chest. She stared at Roberto, her thoughts a whirlwind of confusion and disbelief. Unsure of how to react, she remained silent as he continued, the words escaping his lips with desperate urgency, as if each syllable carried the weight of years of repressed feelings. "I know I'm married to your daughter, and this is wrong in so many ways I can't even count," Roberto went on, his voice revealing the inner conflict that was consuming him. "But no matter how hard I try, I can't stop these feelings. From the beginning, you were always so kind, so understanding with me. And over time, that understanding turned into something much bigger. My feelings for you grew beyond what I could control. I had to tell you, Jaqueline." Jaqueline felt herself being pulled into a whirlwind of conflicting emotions. She had always liked Roberto, always considered him an honest and respectable man, someone she could trust. But never, not even in her wildest thoughts, had she imagined that he harbored such feelings for her. She felt simultaneously betrayed and confused, with a part of herself that couldn't help but feel slightly flattered by such a confession. "Roberto, I don't know what to say," she murmured, her voice trembling as she tried to process the revelation. The words eluded her, as her mind struggled to make sense of what was happening. "I know it's complicated," Roberto said, his voice now heavy with a sadness that seemed to weigh on every word. "But I had to be honest with you. I don't expect you to feel the same way, not at all. I just needed you to know what's going on inside me." Jaqueline stood up slowly, her heart still racing, as if it were about to burst. Trying to buy herself some time to process everything, she walked over to the package, her hands trembling as she began to unwrap it. When the paper was finally removed, she found a beautifully painted picture, a piece of art that depicted a landscape she had always cherished. Every detail of the painting was so precise, so full of life, that it left her breathless for a moment. "I painted this for you," Roberto said in a soft voice, heavy with meaning. "I wanted to give you something that represents how much you mean to me." Every brushstroke, every color was chosen with care, with you in mind. Jaqueline stared at the painting for a long time, taking in every detail of the artwork, before turning her gaze back to Roberto. She knew that, despite the complexity of the feelings involved, she needed to be firm and clear in her response. Roberto, I truly appreciate the gift from the bottom of my heart. It's beautiful, every detail is perfect, and I can see how much care and dedication you put into this painting. But you know this can't continue, Jaqueline said, her voice gentle but firm, as she kept her head down, trying to avoid Roberto's gaze. The rejection was clear in her eyes, even though her words were wrapped in delicacy. I am your mother-in-law, and you are married to my daughter. What you feel for me, we cannot let this go any further. I understand, Roberto replied, his voice barely audible, as if the words were being choked by the sadness he felt. I just wanted you to know. I couldn't keep it inside any longer. Jaqueline felt an unexpected urge and took a step forward, wrapping him in a warm embrace. To her surprise, Roberto returned the gesture, as if that hug was the anchor he needed at that moment. She realized that, despite everything, he needed that comfort, that understanding, and so she didn't pull away. I care about you a lot, Roberto, and I want us both to be happy, but each in our rightful place, she said tenderly, giving him a gentle squeeze before stepping back. Let's try to keep our relationship as it always has been, with respect and affection, please. Roberto nodded, his eyes glistening, revealing the internal conflict that still consumed him. Thank you, Jaqueline. I promise I'll try. I want things to be okay between us. Jaqueline gave a small smile, trying to ease the tension that still lingered in the air, and sat down on the couch again, watching Roberto, who remained standing in front of her. She then turned her attention back to the package he had brought, examining it more carefully. She delicately ran her fingers over the surface of the paper, as if trying to absorb every detail, and brought it to her face, inhaling the faint scent of fresh paint. In an unexpected gesture, still seated, she pulled Roberto into another embrace, longer and filled with silent understanding. Now, let's have some tea, and you can tell me more about this wonderful painting, she said, attempting to create a lighter atmosphere that could dissipate the remaining tension. They sat side by side, with the tension still slightly palpable in the air, but both knew that a new understanding was beginning to form between them. They were aware that it would take time, patience, and effort to overcome that unexpected revelation, but they also knew they were determined to move forward together in a healthier and more appropriate way, valuing what truly mattered: family and mutual respect.